Hello Gemini, thank you for joining me. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing and watching the video. I hope you enjoy the insights here in this reading. Sorry, this is a general reading. Take what works for you. It may also apply to someone that you are close to at this time. If you have strong influences in your birth chart associated with another sign, please feel free to cross-watch for further insights. I have shuffled and laid out the cards. I use the 12 houses of the zodiac, and so as the cards appear in each house, then that is the influence that is coming through for you at this time. So in the first house we have water element, which is sensing. So now this is the first of three quite important water elements coming in for you in your chart. So now the first house is everything to do with the self. What you present to others, how you project to others, your appearance, your personality, your first impressions of your personality, your observable characteristics. It's also your self-oriented interests, your physical body, and that includes sort of any gym routines that you're getting involved in, or just, where you are actually using your body as part of your daily routines. But it's really mostly to do with the self and how you are coming across to others. So now with the water element sensing in there, what this is saying to you that at this time, as you are going out in the world and what you are presenting to others, you may be coming across as quite sensitive. You could be coming across as sort of just almost, you can be remote or you can be sort of withdrawn, but it depends on the person receiving as well. You may also, from your own personal self point of view, you may just want to let things flow for now, follow your emotions and your intuition, follow your gut feelings. So at all times, you can say, what do you feel? What do I feel? What do I feel? And then also try not to overthink things too much at the moment. Just go with the flow when you're mixing with others, when you're out and about. Just tap into your sort of deeper feelings and see what they, because that's going to be your most accurate guidance at this time. You also may be just needing some privacy periodically as well. So you may need sort of periods of retreat, but it's also about spending time in privacy in between your other activities. So you don't have to retreat completely, but it's just a case of getting to know yourself a little bit better and understanding what you want to do out in the world. You also possibly will need to gather your resources before moving ahead. This is about gathering as well before action. It's also about having compassion and understanding. So you may be coming across like that to others as well. But you still need to be in charge of your space and your time. It's quite a creative element, so you may be wanting to sort of embark on something that's creative. You may also just have a bit of low energy at this time. So, as I said, periodically just withdraw, spend a bit of private time to gather your energy again before your next outing and so on. It could also just make you feel a little bit like you're adrift, that you're in sort of a pause period. But that's fine, because during that sort of that time when you're just going with the flow, you kind of are harnessing your resources as well for another time when action is required. Then in your second house you have solar eclipse revolution. Sorry. The second house is everything to do with your income, your money that's coming in. It's also to do with whatever you own, your possessions, and it's also to do with your self-worth and your values. So it can also be covering property and real estate as well. So now with solar eclipse revolution coming in there, what this is bringing in for you is change in some form. It's coming in for you. It may be sudden, and that could be something that has been bubbling under the surface, and now all of a sudden there it is and you've got to deal with it. But whatever the change is, it's going to propel you forward. It may be, it may feel a bit unsettling and, as I said, sudden, but also unsettling. But it's to propel you forward, and it's also to sort of clear away old things to make way for new things. So whether this is a mindset towards your money or just your possessions in general, it could also be that you're trimming things to free up money for you. It could also be that you are just having a rethink about what you value, and also your own self-worth as well in relation to the money that you're earning and so on. So it's an assessment of that, but there will be some kind of change, and it could be, as I said, quite an upheaval, which will actually, it will make you feel like you're going in an unfamiliar direction. There will be a rearrangement of some sort, but also with a sudden change that comes at you like that, as I said, it could have been something that already should have been dealt with, and you've just put it off. Now you have to deal with it because it's in your face, basically. Also, you could take the initiative and fix or change something that you know requires changing, because from that you will create much better. So there is a revolution of sorts in any one of those areas of your second house. Then in the third house, you have Sagittarius IC. So the third house is everything to do with your communication, whether that's your written, verbal, body language. It's also to do with your dealing with others. It can be a greater sort of group of people, or just dealing, perhaps a business oriented kind of communication. It also deals with documents and contracts. So those all fall under this house. So now with Sagittarius IC, they tend to look far and sort of enjoy the overview, but detail is also important. So be mindful of detail. Also, what this may be for you is some sort of freedom. So if it's freedom of speech, if it's something that you feel you want to say, so this is because Sagittarius brings in honesty, speaking your truth. Sometimes though you can speak out of turn, or you can speak your truth, what you feel to be your truth, but it actually can be quite offensive to others. Sagittarians often put their feet in their mouth. So just speak words of wisdom, and obviously speak your truth and say what you need to say. Just put it in a way that is not going to be offensive for others, because then you're just going to have it all coming back at you, because this is, as I said, communication in a wider form as well. It could also be communication coming in. It could be somebody making a generous compliment towards you. Just say thank you and be appreciative, and leave it at that. Just accept it, accept the compliment, accept any kind of recognition, or any kind of admiration, or just any kind of, sort of a really generous thing that somebody's saying to you. Just accept it and say thank you. It could also be that you're being asked to bring in a bit of playfulness and a bit of sense of humor into how you communicate. You could also be sort of feeling quite philosophical at this time. Learning could also be coming in for you. It could also just be dreaming about travel, sort of thinking about it, communicating about it. But it's expansive. It's a very expansive sign as well. So you could be reaching a wider audience in some form. With Sagittarius as well, they can be quite restless. They don't like routine. They don't like to be stuck in the same situation or stuck in a rut of any sort. So you may feel, because the third house covers short trips, so you may feel like you want to get out and just go out and explore, have a bit of an adventure, go into the mountains or to the lakes, or just somewhere to get out. It's an outdoorsy kind of trip. So there, it would be very beneficial for you to do that, to have a change of scenery and just to give yourself a bit of a boost as well. Because while you're out there, you can be meeting others, exploring, and it will give you a boost, so that when you come back home, you're ready to tackle various issues. The other aspect of the third house is saying what you need to say in various forms. It could be social media even, but it also is to do with your perhaps siblings, your aunts and uncles, or your cousins. There possibly may be communication which is going to come up for you. Either you're going to receive it or you're going to give it. Then in the fourth house, we have the Sun spirit. So the fourth house is everything to do with your home and your home environment, so the people in your home as well. But it could even just be the structure or the actual ambience in your home, the feeling in your home. And it's also about your ethnic identity, your roots, what you identify with as your foundation, what you grew up with, and so on. So it could be bringing that in as well. So now, with this, it's a very positive card to be coming in. What it's asking you to do is to bring your personality into your home. So it's about passion, it's about energy. Make your space a positive space. So if you need to sort of inject a bit of enthusiasm or happiness, just laughter into your home, get creative. If you've got a home office or some sort of a space in your home where you like to get things done, could be a craft table or whatever, just bring in your passion, bring in your energy, lighten things up, perhaps change the colors. But you need to really bring your personality into your home to make it a sort of a happy place for you to be. You may be feeling quite generous to others that are in your home, but as I said, it's about bringing laughter and happiness and your energy and your spirit into your home. Also, if there have been home issues which you've been grappling with, this indicates a positive outcome to something to do with the home, progress. It could also be some sort of a summer event or a party that you want to plan, or some sort of entertainment. Sorry, excuse me a moment. Sorry, excuse the interruption. So as I said, you could be maybe wanting to plan an event for summer, or maybe this is an idea for you, some sort of just entertaining where you're having a few people round. But it's kind of brings that feeling into it as well, so sort of like a party or some kind of get together, even if it's a nice dinner or a lunch, but that could be indicated for you as well. Then in the 5th house we have Aries, I am. The 5th house is everything to do with your creativity, your creative projects, which is not necessarily being artistic. You can be creative in many, many different ways. It could be how you speak, how you entertain, how you create sort of events for your children, or there's lots of ways that this can come in. But it's basically the house of creativity in all its forms. It's also the house of children, and it's the house of love affairs, recreation, all kinds of recreational activities, and sports as well. So it could be something with Aries, I am. This is action oriented. This is almost like competition as well. So if you're entering a sports activity, or you have children who are sort of going into sports, you may need to assist them with that. Or it could be that you are embarking on some kind of recreational activity, or you want to do something. You really want to get out and take part in something. This is very well indicated for you. And it could, as I said, it could be related to your children. Perhaps they are embarking on something new. It's a new adventure of some kind. It's creativity. It's trailblazing. It's action oriented. There could be a challenge or a test involved. It could be some kind of team situation. If that is the case, then you need to take other people's feelings into account as well, because you're in a team situation. It's also ideas. It's about ideas, lots of ideas. It's a quick pace. So if something's going to come in, or you're going to launch something, or you're going to do something, it will be quick. And it's also, this is the go ahead. So start whatever it is you want to start. So any one of those areas, whether it's your children, you are experiencing it, and it's being witnessed by your children, or you are seeing it in your children, or children that you are associated with. But as I said, it could also be a project, some creativity that you're using in yourself. But it's all about moving forward with that. And if it's a love affair, you may be attracting an Aryan type person, or somebody who is sort of spontaneous and enthusiastic. They've got good leadership skills. They like to take the lead. It could be something like that, or it could be one of your children is linking up with a sort of a love interest that is displaying those qualities as well. With Aries, I am. It's not about rushing. That may be a tendency to rush in and do things. This is about taking disciplined and thoughtful action to get the best out of this positive, very positive starting energy. Or it might be an idea that you have and you want to put it into action. Avoid control and loss of temper, any kind of aggressive action. As I said, take other people's feelings into account. But any sort of, avoid trying to take control of certain things. By all means, initiate, set a trail, use your, harness your get things done type of action, but not at the cost of other people's wishes and perhaps the pace that they want to move at. So it could be that you're trying to work with your children on something, but it's the inspiration, it's the idea, it's the let's do this, and then you move forward with that. Then in the 6th house, you have a very positive card here. You have part of fortune increase. 6th house has everything to do with your work projects, your workplace, your work colleagues. It's also to do with mastery of your craft, whatever that may be. And it's also to do with health and diet and pets. So you could be getting more pets, or when you apply this into your work environment, it's a very positive influence to be having. So it's like latent talents or abilities that you have been stirred into action, and they're coming up now. They're coming up for you to use, or they just suddenly appear, or it's something that you've perhaps known about but you've never really harnessed, but it's stirred action. It's now coming to the surface for you to actually use. And once you start harnessing those talents and abilities, then you can go forward with that. You may want to take courses to enhance that. You may be receiving income to do with the sort of the formulation of those talents and abilities. It indicates increase. It indicates prosperity from that. It also can be just an increase in work. Perhaps you like to, you're the kind of person that needs to quote for work that you're going to do, or you have to somehow sort of market yourself for work that you've got to do. It could be that kind of increase where you are receiving contracts or some kind of new work projects coming in, or just new projects within your workplace if you're in a set job. But it's all about that, and it's a very positive flow. Things will feel easier. You may resolve some conflicts that have been sort of hanging around. You will feel also that you're in the spotlight. You may be in the spotlight simply because of what you've displayed. Those talents and abilities are now starting to surface. It gets noticed and people appreciate that. Its benefits coming in. Public relations and promotion are indicated with this as well. So you may notice a sort of an increase in that, or you are now, as I said, in the spotlight. It's also a fate and a destiny card. So what is meant for you will come to you. It's also good luck, popularity as well. So with health and diet, it indicates good health. At this time, perhaps nothing noticeable, nothing of any concern, but generally good health. Just don't overdo things because of all the increase coming in now, and the sort of more that you've got to do, or more that you're sort of getting busy with. Keep your diet in check and look after yourself so that you can go after and do all those work projects and harness all those benefits coming to you at this time. Then in the 7th house, we have Cancer, I feel. This is another water card coming in. This is connected to your 1st house, which we already dealt with, which was the water element. Your 7th house is directly impacted because how you are in yourself and what you're sending out to others, what you're projecting outward to others, is going to be felt in your 7th house, which is your house of personal one-on-one relationships. So this is can be love partnerships, as I said, or any one-on-one close partnership, sort of relationship, or it could be a business partner or somebody that you're currently involved with at a partnership level. So with Cancer, I feel very similar to the 1st house card. So this is everything to do with, again, going with your gut, accessing your deep emotions about things. It's also deep love as well in many ways, but it's follow your feelings, and you may be going through cycles and phases to do with your relationships, you just have to ride those waves and feel your way along. You may be feeling quite vulnerable or touchy or even moody. So just manage your moods, manage your emotions, because emotions will be high. So manage your emotions, and ensure that you are applying yourself in a way which is going to be well received. So you may also need to be resilient in some way, or to sort of work on that a bit. You may be feeling a bit overprotective and want to control situations. That's a big no-no. Do not do that at this time. By all means, go with your feelings, say what you need to say, but put it in a way which, as I said, will be well received. Otherwise, you're going to come across as crabby and overprotective. The other thing is, you could also be tuning in. If none of those things are coming through for you, could also just be tuning into other people's feelings. So your close personal relationships, you may just be really on the money when it comes to sensing what's going on with that person. Your emotions will be finely tuned. That someone from your past may be coming back in as well. It could be a relationship that you're now starting for somebody from your past, or a past business partnership, or it could just be that you're sort of looking back on memories. And there's a bit of nostalgia there. Because this is a female-oriented sign and it's ruled by the moon, you may be sort of in a relationship with a female of some kind, and there's feminine issues which are coming up there, or just it's all the nuances of a female relationship. It could also be feminine intuition, or feminine wisdom coming in, you harnessing that if you are feminine, but even if you are a masculine, you can still be harnessing your feminine side. It's deep intuition, really. It could also be that you're attracting somebody to you, if it's a love partnership, that is quite Cancerian in the way they possibly are a little bit mysterious and quite alluring, or they could just be sort of very emotionally sensitive, and also maybe go through phases where that you've got to just go with the cycles there. Also with the moon, some things may be hidden in your relationships. Something just is not revealed at this time, and you might just feel a bit off, or something may come up that was hidden. That does come in sometimes as well. Then in the 8th house, this kind of follows on from the 7th house, because this is the deeper emotional and material resources between committed partners, specifically love partners, but also business partners as well. So it's a material and emotional resources. So now the 8th house is also to do with anything to do with sex, anything to do with death, and anything to do with birth. So there may be, possibly with the moon at this time, possibly if you're involved in a relationship with somebody and they are pregnant, there may be birth imminent. Or it could just be a rebirth of something within the relationship. It's a symbolic thing as well. So something may fall away to make way for something new. It's also about power, this house, and this card is about that. This Pluto rules the 8th house, so it's in its own house now, and so those energies are going to be particularly accented at this time. So it's about transformation, certainly. It's also about power, so there may be a few power struggles between you and your partner or business partner, which needs to be sorted out. It needs to be transformed. So there may be a bit of an ego death in some way. Somebody's going to have to let go of a few ego issues in order for the relationship to move forward. The 8th house also deals with other people's money. So you dealing with other people's money, whether that's your partner or in a sort of a work situation. Transformation again is required. And the old makes way for the new, or something could die off and then something will come out of the ashes of that. So it could be quite an upheaval or quite a shock, loss of some sort, but out of that something else will come out. It could also be renewal within a current or existing relationship. It's also something falls away. It could also be a surprise or a shock. It is quite an intense energy, this. But it could also be, as I said, a necessary transformation which brings about renewal and fulfillment. Either that or it will fall away altogether. There's also, this card indicates reflection on the past. Something that you're reflecting on is not as good as you thought. This eighth house also deals with big finance. So that's insurance, investments, taxes. It's also about banking, accounting, legacies and inheritances. So the eighth house is all indicated, and there's upheavals there or transformation required. Something may come to you or go or leave you. There's different ways that this can come about. But whatever it is, be careful with your finances. This is doubly indicated now in this house. Be very careful with your finances. Just think things through. And as I said, you may have made an investment perhaps, and it turns out that it's not as good as you thought. It's that kind of thing coming back from the past. Also some things, because Pluto is the ruler of the underground, you may find that something in any one of those areas has been hidden or has been lying beneath the surface, and it's going to come out now because Pluto pulls everything up from underneath, from anything from that's been hidden or underneath. It will rise to the surface. So something that, you could be a bit blindsided by something, or just something that you go, oh, right, okay, I know now. Something kind of just was off and now there it is in your face. You've got to deal with it. So it could, as I said, be any one of those areas, which is the eighth house, but it's a very powerful house, and Pluto is powerful enough in itself in that house. So really all of those things are, strongly indicated at this time. Then in the ninth house, we have void of course, moon missing. So the ninth house is everything to do with international travel or exposure to other things from other countries. So that could be cultures, it could be people, it could be concepts, but it's foreign. It could be import, export. It could be also higher education. So that's universities and adult education or courses that you would like to take. It's also for religious beliefs, your belief systems in general, and also philosophy. So it could be the study of that, or just understanding something, or perhaps you're working in that field. It's also about publishing and teaching, and perhaps you're a teacher. It's also about the law, and it also deals with sort of public relations work or promotional work. So that came up earlier on in your sixth house. So possibly ideas are going to come in for you which you would like to take action on, but this is saying to you at the moment, just wait a bit, because the results won't be what you want. So just wait a bit. This can be, normally this void of course moon doesn't take very long. If the moon is moving between signs, it changes signs every 2.5 days. But I would say a week or more, possibly just wait until the energies have changed, until things feel a bit like they're going to move forward, and then you can undertake what you need to. But it's about put off any long distance travel if possible. You can plan, certainly, and you can think about what you want and sort of do research and so on, but this is a no action card. This is stay as you are. Whatever you're doing, just stay as you are. Do not embark on any new courses of action at this time. Just stay as you are, think about things, and wait until the energies have sort of lifted. Stay as is. So you may have to, as if international travel is unavoidable, well, things may just not go to plan. You may just have some very off results, or kind of your plans get disrupted, that kind of thing. Also, if you're waiting for results on something, it could be inconclusive or confusing results. Things are just not. It's not an optimal time to be sort of starting anything new, and also whatever you've set in course just won't come back positively. Unpredictable results, that kind of thing. Just if something is going on in any one of those areas of your ninth house, just allow matters to settle before you move forward. There could be a bit of frustration or a few delays. Yeah, you could just be, as I said, in a limbo phase, which is fine because that gives you time to just think things through and just monitor what is happening before you launch yourself at something. Then in the 10th house, you have Saturn return. This is all about wisdom and sort of putting your shoulder to the wheel. This is 10th house is everything to do with your career, your public status, your reputation, your fame, and authority figures as well. So you could have an authority figure who's father-like and very helpful, or could be a bit of a taskmaster. So it's slow progress. You have to keep going even though you will feel restricted. It's quite restrictive at this time, but that's for a purpose. There is light at the end of the tunnel, but there will be struggle and difficulty initially until you get the hang of it, and just keep plodding on until you get your result. All the time Saturn is trying to bring about achievable results for you, solid results. And with a Saturn return, this indicates that something that from the past may come back and be really unsatisfactory, or have a very unstable foundation, and it will be destroyed, and then you've got to start again. But it's about applying wisdom that you've gained over a long period of time, because Saturn return occurs roughly the big one is about every 29 years. So at the age of 29, whatever was going on there may reapply, or at the age of your late 50s, again, it will come. So it's about learning from the past, applying wisdom and experience, and you may just have to deal with something again, but it's harnessing the power of your knowledge and applying it at this time. People could come back from the past, situations could come back from the past as well. You could be meeting people from the past that were associated with any one of those areas, your career or your status. It's also, the 10th house is also the house of ambition. So possibly what was your ambition before is changing now. There's no quick fixes with Saturn. There's no rushing. There's no cutting corners. You just have to apply your skill and your wisdom to achieve your goals. There will be pressure, and discipline is required, also diligence. You also have to be realistic. So your grand ideals that you may have had before will be changed, and now you've got to be a bit more realistic about what is achievable at this time specifically. But always Saturn is about trying to bring solid achievement to you, and it's about building good foundations. So anything that is not being built properly will simply crumble, and you'll have to start again. So, if there's anything in your environment you feel that needs to be changed, or you want to try and do the best you can to do that, you may just go through a difficult period until you can bring that change about. Then in the 11th house, we have Moon Soul. This is your third water card, moon related. The 11th house is everything to do with your groups, your friendships, your societies, your associations. It's also to do with friendships, your friendships, and it's also to do with your hopes and dreams, your sort of personal hobbies, your hobbies and interests. It's also about social reform and trends, sort of trends in the greater community, community, and where you live, or worldwide even. With the moon and soul, this is, again, it's similar kind of situation where you've got moods and fluctuations, you've got ebb and flow. You could also be sort of mixing with other females, or sort of coming into or learning about the feminine sides, the divine feminine, feminine issues, woman's wisdom, all of that comes in. Doesn't matter what sex you are, but you're going to be sort of coming into contact with that. It could be a female friend who is going through various phases, as I said, there's moodiness and fluctuations and ebb and flow there, so it's about that. This also deals with crowds. The moon deals with crowds, so you could be involved in a greater group, really quite a big group of some sort. It's also about social media, connecting into groups and various other types of interests which involve many other people. The There's also it's also about your feelings. How do you feel? So whether this applies to a friendship or to groups that you want to join or interests that you want to follow up on, and it involves joining a society or something like that. It's always ask yourself, how do I feel? Something also may be hidden or not clear. As I said, with the moon, this comes in. So it could be something to do with, it could even be a club or sort of a sports club or a society that you're a member of. There may be some issue which is just not clear, or it could be to do with a friendship. The moon also brings in your habits, how you are habitually, your habitual characteristics and your habitual attitudes and how you do things. So that may be being mirrored back to you through somebody else, or you're seeing things in somebody else. Or it could also be to do with your interests and your hobbies. The moon always tries to keep you safe, so you may just be feeling that you don't want to branch out into anything too new at this time. You would like to just stay in a safe place. The arts are also indicated for this, so you may be wanting to follow up on artistic groups or enjoy the arts in general, sort of in going out into that and following up on interests. It's also about helping others. This card also may bring in a bit of shyness, so that safety issue came in again, where perhaps you don't feel like you should be joining more social groups because you're shy. You need to overcome that and sort of get out there a little bit, overcome that, possibly to follow your interests. The past may come back for you, an old friend or an old associate. The past also comes in with this on the moon card. Then in the 12th house, we have air element communicating. So this is everything to do with communication of all kinds. But in your 12th house, this deals with your spiritual life, meditation, mysticism, healing, and also withdrawal, sort of solitude, a bit of reflection. It also deals with escapism and addictions of all kinds. It's also about your unconscious side, your deeper unconscious, what drives you, and sort of very deeply held beliefs. It's also karmic inheritance. It also deals with your experiences in institutions of all kinds. So this can be universities, libraries, government departments, hospitals, any kind of institution. So what I feel this is bringing in for you is that perhaps if it's to do with sort of what you feel on the inside and what you would like to initiate, but from I'm talking about your unconscious psyche, your sort of, your what drives you in certain ways. You need to think things through, talk to others. Don't overanalyze, but talk to others, learn a few things, explore a few things, perhaps new fields of study or new understanding of yourself and others. And also it could be a sort of a rise of your psychic ability, so that's your clairsentience, all the clairs, clairaudience and so on, because that's all about communication. It could be a rise of that. It could also be that you need to put into words what you want. So write things down so that when you come to say it, you've got it right, or when you communicate, you've got it right. It's also talking to others of like mind, so that you've got ideas and that you're learning and growing. But this card also is very importantly about manifestation. So what you think goes out and it comes back to you as manifestation. So be careful of your thoughts and also think positive things. You may be learning about new concepts. You may also be visiting other people, or just learning from other people who are a little bit different from yourself or have more advanced concepts than what you are used to. So it's all about communication of all kind, and also communicating your deeper self, communicating that outward and just understanding as well. Okay, Gemini, hope you have a great month, and take care, and I will see you next time.